Maybe so, Felix. Hello, and welcome to Comments and Corrections. Here I'm going to be highlighting comments made on my videos and then making appropriate corrections to what I got wrong. Some YouTubers like to make comment highlight videos to dump on their comment sections, but I'm going to try to do the exact opposite. First though, if somehow you stumbled onto this without seeing my video, The Most Russian Game Ever Made, use the link in the description to go there now. You can come back once you're finished. Seriously, it's gonna get weird in here if you don't. For those of you watching from the future, please consider the release date of this video. YouTube has this habit of recommending my videos like 2 or 3 years after I make them, and unfortunately, I can't yet respond to comments from the future in a time-locked video like this. If enough cool comments come up though, or if some major oopsie was discovered on my video, I'll make another one of these. This piece of media is intended to be listenable for the most part, so you can tab out on it. I will be reading full comments here and in the future. Be warned, some of them can get pretty long. I don't want to paraphrase too much so the meaning is lost, and as a precaution you'll see the comments on screen if you want to look to make sure I'm getting them right. Oh hey, that one's back. Iron Felix from Kuban says, "The most Russian game ever made. Dungeons of Kremlin, 1995. I still think Call of Abdulov takes the cake, but this is a good contender. It meets all the criteria I laid out, but I very subjectively think it just isn't as weird to outsiders as Call of Abdulov was." Wasted Scoundrel said, "I mean, couldn't you just have asked some English-speaking Russians? Also, the part where the game went blead was funny. I liked it. It made me laugh." Happy you laughed, but this is a criticism I expected, and let me explain why I did what I did. So, IRL, I have like one half acquaintance who is fluent in Russian, and for the amount of research I did, it would have felt weird to ask them to translate all of it. The much bigger deal, though, was that I wasn't sure just how offensive what I was looking at would prove to be to someone who understands this culture. In English, it came off as edgy, but, with context, who knows. If I approached someone I didn't know and said, "Hey, can you please translate these texts from an anti-Japanese pseudo-cult?" well, I can imagine it would come off weird. PP Strele said, "I'm up to the challenge if reviewer is interested." I really appreciate the offer. What I just said is less applicable to people who already watch my videos, and if I end up needing someone to help translate in the future, I might call on you guys for this. I didn't think anyone would be up to it before, honestly. PP Strele also said, "The dude is Vanomas, an infamous YouTuber who's mostly known for bad Let's Plays and some memes that stuck around in Eastern Europe. Kind of Russian Darkside Phil, only a bit more self-aware." That's about the vibe I got from him too. The comparison to DSP makes me wish I knew Russian pretty bad, cause I've been laughing at DSP for like a decade at this point. More from PP Strele. "Long time ago, in times of Soviet regime, people liked to prank random fools. They put Snickers on the ground for some poor sap to pick it up, only to find a piece of shit inside, which then followed by a lead pipe to the head. Those were fun times indeed. Nowadays the prank isn't used anymore due to wide availability of Snickers bars. Still, it's a good way to buff yourself up after some minor fights." That's pretty wild. I tried researching this one, but English Google didn't give me much in results. If you could provide some sort of source, video, pictures, that'd be something to see. I do believe you though, and this does sound like the kind of Soviet shenanigans you hear about in the US while looking up the word Gopnik. Danger Velcast said, "If the game runs in Doom Engine, you can get more speed running in lateral than forward and backward, so side, move, and jump." I imagine this is in reference to the difficulties I was having in that platforming section. I do know about this quirk. The issues I were having were more related to the platforms being so small that building up speed was quite hard. If even necessary. More importantly though was that pipe that required a lot more vertical movement. Extra speed wouldn't have helped that. It needed a rocket jump. I was pointing it out because otherwise the rocket jump feature was not really necessary anywhere else. Here comes a big one. Pyro Moloch said, "Russian citizen here. I've heard of this Abdulov thing for years, especially in like late 2000s, early 2010s, when Russian YouTube and RuTube, Russian copycat video hosting site scene, was young. I think the main Kickstarter for the growth of quality videos in Russia was Ilya Madison, who is often compared to AVGN, though he never had the same level of production, but arguably was a better comedian. Also, his whole career kind of developed in a different way. I think he's a streamer these days. Anyway, I think a lot of these Abdulov adepts were just huge fans of his and some other quality creators at the time. The reason they picked Abdulov? God knows. I think it's because he died recently and was very revered by all the boomers, aka parents of these clowns. So it was probably the natural rebellious thing to make fun of him. I don't know though, I never cared too much to research this. Lurkmore.to, like a Russian equivalent of Encyclopedia Dramatica, says their main goal was to unite against bad video creators. This explains why they targeted Ozon671 Games, who rose to fame after Madison mocked him in one of his videos, after which he made an angry video reply and then went to stalk him outside of his house. Vanamas was another YouTuber that had beef with Madison, possibly a jokey one, but he is most infamous for the low quality of videos and very bad critiques of games. One of his traits was to find a blurry texture in an otherwise extremely well-looking game. All games have some bad textures, and then just shit on the game's graphics and give it a low score. He's also well known for his deep analysis videos, where he'd sit in a wife-beater tank top in front of an ironing board, looking like a middle-aged alcoholic, and just talk about some subject without any understanding of it and using lots of swear words. He just always had this hillbilly vibe about him, which made him fun to watch for many people, but also drew a lot of hatred to him. But TBH, neither me nor any one of my friends never gave a shit about this Abdulov thing, and always considered it lame. I think that was the general consensus among adequate people. You can see the same sentiment on lurkmore.to as well. Whenever I encountered some online, I found them more annoying than anything. They always acted very immaturely and spammed you with their own local memes, which you couldn't understand. I think most of them were kids. By the way, Yandex is not a Russian YouTube copycat. It started as a Russian Google copycat, but grew into a bunch of other things. Also, Sakhalin is not really a Russian word. Well, it is a Russian transliteration of, I think, a Manchu word? I think the original word was something like Sakhalian. Thank you, Pyro Moloch. If I had an award for best comment, you'd get it. I was unaware of Ilya Madison before this point. Is it pronounced Madison? But man, I'm shocked he never came up. He's huge. What Pyro Moloch said about him is true. He was on RooTube, he did imitate the angry video game nerd, and he is now primarily a Twitch streamer. The Ozon guy is interesting too. I saw a bunch of accounts with similar names in the ranks of the cult of Baborin. This comment changed me though. After some thought, I decided to say, screw it. I went on lurkmore.to and used the heaping mass of Google Translate on the Abdulov article. I didn't find a lot new except for one critical thing. Abdulov. The guy was found. In late 2012, he quit, tried to relaunch in 2013 as 3D 8K without the Abdulov connection because he had become sick of it, disappeared again, and the channel was deleted. May have come back as Stolipin TV, and finally came back for real and for good. The Abdulov TV guy that made so much of this happen is now Vinuk Elkina. Vinuk Elkina? I'm sticking with the first pronunciation. And I believe it. Why? Funny you should mention. You can see it in Call of Abdulov in some old videos, but Abdulov TV had a famous computer setup, and in the background of this video you can see it. Okay, so I know that isn't watertight, but I saw Abdulov in some Vinuk Elkina videos. He has the computer. Lurkmore.to seems to claim it, although I am using Google Translate. I have a hunch. There's also some picture proof on Lurkmore. This stuff is of course linked in the description. This Lurkmore page, if being translated correctly, is also very dismissive of the Abdullah religion and echoes much of the stuff Pyro Moloch mentions. The only thing I was unable to find is the connection between Ilya and Abdullah. I don't disbelieve that it is there, I just couldn't find it. Thank you again, Pyro Moloch. Walker said, I'm pretty sure the Desert Eagle sounds are the same as the one from Postal 2, but as you say, it might actually be called gunshot01.wav. The model could be from Postal 2 as well, but I'm not sure about that one. Column Sparrow said, the generic gunshot noise from the Desert Eagle is also used in House of the Dead 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog. Thanks guys, I did look this one up, you're right. Now we've got a conversation between me and YouTube user Lorenzo Pagani. Lorenzo said, I hit the 2-minute mark and I see what looks like a Doom character face inside a Chaos symbol that I know for a fact is used by Eurasian and Neo-Pagan Slavic political movements. This is gonna be good. I said, Neo-Pagan political movements? That's interesting. I just figured it was the 8-pointed star of Chaos from, you know, Warhammer. Never even thought to bring it up. Thank you, I'm gonna look this up. Lorenzo said, Yep, here's them, I believe, and there's a link to the Eurasia Party. They're sort of a mix between Nazbol and Third Position. Here's some good keywords that should help you look this stuff up. Pan-Eurasianism, Pan-Slavism, Hyperborea, Roman von Ungern-Sternberg, considered a hero by some of them, and Neo-Paganism. I then followed up with, that's really interesting. I think the Chaos Emblem used in Call of Abdulov is a little bit more like the generic one you see in other fantasy things compared to the one used by the Eurasia Party, but I can't discount this from being an influence. I'll definitely bring this up in the follow-up video. Thank you. I'm going to maximize his next comment. Yeah, it could be a generic one, but given how deep the entire lore is, it's a possibility. I know for a fact there's a lot of occult shit that goes on in Russia, and there's a lot of subcultures like that. I remember hearing, for example, about some neo-pagan ideas about how Slavs are the true Aryans and how they are descended from Hyperboreans and shit about that. It's a really deep rabbit hole, and I remember hearing about how the people finding this stuff out were going to the deep web to learn about it. Had to do with lore they were making for a game mode. Look up the New Order Hearts of Iron 4 if you're interested. Neo-Nazism with Slavic characteristics, neo-paganism, National Bolshevism, Tsar Restoration, theocracy, and such forms of government and political ideas are all throughout not popular, somewhat common in Russia by Western standards. Monarchism is quite popular compared to a lot of places, with a decent amount of Russians saying they would not mind to see a return of the Tsar. Nazbol, for all its meme potential, was an actual party though. I believe it got dissolved. Communism is still a thing in some places, and just like you have people in the USA that go on about being free citizens and Articles of Confederation, you have a subculture in Russia that thinks the USSR is still alive and the current government is a fake one. No Fuckers has a video on it. Look it up. About the best tip I can give you is find a Russian speaker. Someone watching this is bound to have the skill, and it'll make these searches much easier. This is super interesting in general, but yeah, like I said, I really just thought it was a Warhammer thing. I really appreciate Lorenzo's relating of these groups to the crazy sovereign citizen types in the US. Really helps me put it in perspective. I suggest you, viewer, do your own research on this one. This is a rabbit hole I'm not sure I'm ready to dive into, but it is one I will someday. As for corrections not previously brought up like with Yandex, there's just the one, maybe. So, what was Abdulov's first name? I have a few spellings on screen right now. I would get mixed up between these while editing, and I saw them all used interchangeably in different places. I alternated so I know I was wrong at least once. Then again, his first name would of course be in Cyrillic. And that's all we have for today. I want to thank all of you for watching, and of course even more for contributing. That's all, I'll see you soon. There will be more videos like this one. Bye.